as we welcome in the professor, Jason Jones, who I think appears every week with a pro wrestling shirt on, which
is that KO?
Yeah, it's KO. And I
Yeah.
think I need to go grab my charger real quick. I just got the whole you need to charge plug on your phone.
That's okay. Go grab the charger,
right.
man. Ain't no fourth wall on this show, man. You good to go. You good to go. But no, I was happy that they won, and probably excited that they won. But there was there was definitely I do all of the graphics. That's why they look like a child made them for like ESPN 1320 and all that stuff. San Antonio's guy, I was making that one pretty early. Like I was like, I expected them to win that game.
San Antonio start. Now it's the crazy
there
thing.
There we go. KO's back.
KO.
There you go.
I'm not a big KO guy.
He can go. He's really, really good.
I'm not a big KO guy. Yeah.
I thought what
like
they
fat people? Is that what it is? You don't like fat people?
Well, no, I think he stole the stunner, and I don't appreciate that.
Well, eventually every move gets recycled at some point.
Remember when the super kick was a finisher?
Oh, yeah, a long time ago.
There's a lot of moves that used to be finishers that's just like a move now.
The DDT used to be the most feared finisher of the 80s.
Yeah.
That meant Damien time. Damien's dinner time.
Now it's a transition move to something else.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, but they told a nice little story with Kevin Love on Friday.
Oh, Owens.
Kevin Owens. They told a nice little story with Kevin Owens on Friday.
I gotta check that out. I gotta watch
SmackDown. And it's just the brilliance of Sami Zayn. One slight little facial expression, and it was, okay, all right. So there's brilliant storytelling going on Friday nights.
Yeah. He's in his bag, and I'm really enjoying that. Dominic Mysterio spent 30 minutes in jail, and now he's Tupac. I mean, I love this. This is
someone compared him to Prison Mike from The Office, and like now I absolutely need to see it because I haven't.
I mean, this is some of the when he goes to back on the yard, like he was actually in prison, like on the yard. That what they would do to you. I mean, this is.
I haven't seen this. I'm gonna have to see this.
It's hilarious. I mean, it has me dying every week now. Whenever Dom goes into his, what did he say? What did he say? What do we call a oos and the oos where I'm from? A fake essay.
Oh God! Oh my God!
I gotta go catch up on my DVR.
This stuff is gold. I mean, I'm loving every minute of this whole Dominic Mysterio. With they even have it. The little fake teardrop tattoo. I mean, this is outstanding.
No, they don't. You got to.
That's tremendous.
He's wearing the flannels now, and it's outstanding stuff going on right now.
Oh yeah, I gotta check this out.
That is tremendous.
Hey, one thing I was gonna say though, it's just being at the game on Friday, and Damien, you may never experience this. Jason, you might, but Damien, I think you'll never experience this. Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure you never experience this. After the game, the beam was lit. Literally the happiest place on earth. Everybody in Doco was just smiling. It was so happy. It was like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. I love life. I love sports. La la la. Very, very stark comparison to when
Saturday night
when it was just doom and gloom. And I say you'll never experience that because
No.
I don't know if we're going to let you stay around the whole time anymore, Damien.
No, 0 for 2. 0 for 2.
I may even make you cut out early on Friday.
Well, if I explain it to everybody in the room, like, hey, these are the rules. They are rigid. I will show myself the door.
Good time. And then Jason, you got to get back up here, man. You know what I'm saying? You got.
I will. I mean, they got me doing, visiting other places right now.
Whoa! Did you see that? Did you see the man on Saturday? Oh man, red your color, bro. Red your color.
Oh,
red your color.
I'm sorry, San Francisco 49er beat writer.
I was not there for the Niners. First off, and secondly, that lanyard for my credential was the first time in my life I've ever worn anything with the 49ers on it.
Boy. Sean Cunningham timed you out with a quickness.
Then Marcus Thompson got a picture of me. I didn't it didn't dawn on me. Then they were like, "You've got Niner stuff." I'm like, "I don't have Niner stuff on. I have a lanyard with my credential
that had the 49ers logo on it.
Red's your color, big dog. Look, now he's wearing red. I think we've already transformed him.
I think so.
This was a Father's Day gift from my children. Thank you very much. Let's not do this,
goes with your new lanyard.
No.
Hey, you going back this weekend?
No, I'm not. I don't. No, that's not in the cards. And I think
I wouldn't tell us if he was.
I would need to wear blue and silver and blue if I went back. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I despise the joy of Niner fan more than Cowboy fan. My girlfriend's a Cowboys fan, so I gotta. So if I gotta choose, peace and violence, I need the Niners to lose and go ahead and make sure that she's happy.
Well, I don't need the Niners to lose, even though my fiance is a Cowboys fan too.
Oh wow, man! How did this happen?
She's a lost soul. Been trying to save her for years. She don't want no saving.
I heard she got.
Why do Niner fans do that? Why don't you come over here with us? We don't. Nobody wants to come be with y'all.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're having so much fun. We're having such a great time. We're trying to bring everybody else into the joy. But
I'd rather.
Ryan is absolutely going to be a Niners fan.
I heard the Dak Prescott jersey's already been.
Well, I might have lost to Reese. I'm not going to lie to you. I might have lost to Reese. I'm not losing Ryan. Not losing Ryan.
Okay. All right, buddy.
I got lucky. All my kids went with me except one of them. He goes back and forth depending on what parent he's hanging out with.
The other one, smartest kids you have, right there. That's the one who's going to get away with everything.
The other ones are like, we're going to roll with Dad, whatever team Dad likes. We got him to a Dodger game early, so they're like, yeah, this is the But one of them, he has this little. When I'm at Mom, I'm a Warriors fan, and I love Steph. When I'm with Dad, LeBron is the best player in the world. And he even told his older. I was just joking. It's the youngest. I was just joking with him one day. I was like, if you want to eat, you know who to cheer for. He told his brothers, do you guys want to eat? If you want to eat, we got the Lakers over here. And they were like, okay, whatever.
Well, look, Jason, don't be surprised if he says last week he said LeBron is the best player in the world. And this week he says Harrison Barnes is the best player in the world. Because that's exactly who's balling out right now. Harrison Barnes is killing in 2023. Killing.
New year, new Harrison.
Yeah. What's the number? He's averaging 21 and
22, and it's on he's averaging 22 points per game on 56% from the field, 56% from three, and 89% from the free throw line.
I think I may sound crazy now. 22 a night. I don't think so. I think Harrison. I really believe he can go 17, 18 a night for the rest of the season.
If he does, they're a damn good team. I mean, that's yeah. And it's always fun when Harrison goes on these stretches where he scores a lot because it's almost like he's like, yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah, he doesn't change. He's just like, yeah,
It doesn't happen often, but it's happened now. We were talking about who to root for because we're looking at the scoreboard every single night.
Every day.
Portland and Denver play tonight. Denver will be playing without Mike Malone, who has entered the very rare health and safety protocols in 2023.
Every now and then, they guess they still check. So
every once in a while
they check more for steroids than they do COVID.
Josh's been tested 7 times?
Yeah, they got Donovan.
Every time he dunks on somebody, go ahead and get that skinny kid a test. Yeah, that's not making any sense.
And I think only coaches enter health and safety protocol.
That's a good yeah. Who was
Mike
the
Brown?
Player?
I have no idea.
All the players got non-COVID illnesses.
Is it you have been around the Sacramento Kings for a very, very long time. Is it fair 42 games into the season, I think it is, to not expect something to fail anymore, to look at this team and go, nah, this is a good team that's going to achieve something this year?
I think it's fair. I think we've got enough of us because even back in the 2018-19 season, it kind of felt like a lot of smoke and mirrors. They're doing this, but this is going to fall apart eventually. And I think even though I think they're so good on offense, it overcomes the defense. and they, so I just think what they're doing, they can keep this up. I don't. This doesn't feel fake. I mean, that year felt like, yeah, they're doing it, but nah, this doesn't feel like. It didn't feel like they were one of the 8 or 9 best teams in the West. It felt like they just happened to have a halfway decent record.
When your head coach comes out and says, "Nah, this ain't gonna hold up," that's probably a good indication that it's not gonna hold up.
Yeah. So I mean, this feels real. It looks real. You've got talent. You've got 2 legit guys. A legit 1-2 combo as opposed to a bunch of guys playing above their heads, and you feel like all these guys are going to come back to earth. I don't think Sabonis is going to all of a sudden go out there and start averaging 12, 7, and 3. I don't think De'Aaron's going to start averaging 15 points for like a month. So all of this feels legit. The team is put together in a way that makes sense. They've got an identity. They're beating teams. They're supposed to beat teams for the most part. I just think that this is a model that they can keep up, the rest of the year.
Where do you stand on like what they're doing on offense compared to what they're doing on defense? Because like I've talked about it a couple of different times. Like, this is what you do. You score. And I'm not saying neglect defense. I'm not saying don't try to get better on defense, but never lose sight. 2022, 2023 Sacramento Kings, you score. That's what you do. I've coined it. That's your superpower. Where do you stand on like where that can get them? You know what I mean? Like, is that something that is just applicable to the regular season, and in the postseason, they're not going to be able to do the same things? Or is it something that can still be a bit of a superpower once the playoffs come around?
I've always said that you got to pick a struggle. And for so many years, they were bad on both ends of the court. It's like, you got to pick a struggle. And they've clearly picked their struggle is going to be on defense. So so this is going to get them some regular season wins. My concern for them in the postseason would be if the game slows down and gets more physical. If the refs, hold up, the refs don't change anything because the postseason they still ref the same way. I forgot, but say the game slows down a little bit and then you start letting guys grab De'Aaron more and they get a little more physical. If the game slows down, it becomes about possession by possession. Can they defend over, say, a 12-minute stretch like you need them to win playoff games? I don't know. But
shout out to the officials who've spent the whole first half of the season allowing De'Aaron to play playoff basketball.
They're preparing them.
They're getting them ready.
But I think, they can be a scary playoff team because they can score. And so, what that gets you in the postseason, I don't know. I don't think it gets you swept. But, but I think that when you play the best of the best, that the defense is going to matter in the end. But like I said, they got an identity. They finally have picked the struggle instead of saying we suck on offense and defense. Okay, you know what? We'll be really good on offense. We'll keep trying to get better on defense. And even though we won't, hold you to like 98, some ridiculous number, if you can play good enough defense, you can win some games. And they just don't have a lot of margin for error a lot of nights. That point differential is so small to where if they were just a little bit better on defense, you probably could breathe a little easier. But they're going to be in a lot of close games just because, what was that old Patrick Ewing line during the lockout? We make a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money. They score a lot of points, but they give up a lot of points. So they're going to have a lot of tight games, but they're going to win more than they lose playing this way. And as long as they don't get away from what they are offensively, and they don't turn, it's probably more importantly, don't turn the ball over, because you can't be a bad defensive team and then playing this style and then give teams 15, 20 extra possessions off of your own mistakes.
Yeah. And real quick now, I was going to say what Jason said is not wrong. Like, traditionally, that's exactly what happens in the playoffs with high scoring teams. The game slows down, and those 7 seconds or less teams or something like that in Phoenix, they usually have a hard time scoring. Here's the crazy thing for this Kings team is they're not like a fast break team. Like, they're not like this run and gun team. Their half court offense seems so efficient. That's where they're getting a lot of these points. So if the game does slow down in the postseason, they're still right at home. Like they go to work in the half court. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
why
they'll
they can't. That's why they can't turn the ball over.
Mhm.
That's why you can't have 15, 20 turnover games, because that, along with bad shots, as long as they move the ball and they take good shots, they'll be balanced defensively. You can get back, you got a chance. But they just can't get into some crazy stuff like, you know what? Hey, 20 seconds on the clock. I'm taking a 35-foot three just for the hell of it. They just can't get stuck into stuff like that.
I also think that, unlike in years past, they actually have personnel that can play defense.
Mhm.
Whether they do it every possession or for 48 minutes is an entirely different story. But we know De'Aaron can play defense. We know Domantas Sabonis is always going to know where to have his guys. Harrison Barnes the same way, and then of course Davion Mitchell potentially being the anchor for all of that. I think in years past, it's like none of these guys can play defense. This group, I think, can, just don't. And I'm not sure what's worse for Mike Brown, but I think that's the case. And that's why we've seen spurts of really solid defensive efforts from them.
Yeah, because past years it was, okay, Harrison, can you guard 4 people?
Mm-hmm.
And it would be like, okay, we need Harrison to guard the best wing player. Oh, you might need to guard a power forward. Hey, Harrison, why don't you play some 5 and guard somebody? So now you got multiple guys who can help, and I think that is what makes it frustrating, because it's like, you guys can do this for more than 5 minutes. Can we get 10 minutes of it? Because I mean, the way they score, most nights they're going to go on a run, and you're not going to keep up with them for about a good 7-8 minute stretch. And if they can, and as long as they just defend and don't turn the ball over, play smart, more times than not, they're going to be able to win games.
Yeah. The frustrating thing watching them, and we saw a lot in that Spurs game, especially in the first half, was like the straight line drives.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're not a great defensive team, cool, but you can't just let people waltz to the basket like they did in that first half. And that's usually when I get frustrated with defense. I know when the 3 balls falling for the other team, it's frustrating in a different respect, because it's like, oh my gosh, they're hitting everything. But you kind of just say, hey, like they're hitting shots. When they just walk to the lane, Trey Jones, oh my gosh, they had him looking like Chris Paul.
Yeah, I mean, those nights where they're giving up 60, 70 points in the paint just can't happen. Like, you're giving up 120 something points and more than half are coming in the paint. I mean, you just, because then if you're living in the paint, then, when they're not scoring, they're probably getting to the line. So now you're at a deficit in paint points and you're probably giving them 30 free throws. It's just a bad recipe when you just let guys go, do what they want. And where I get frustrated is when I'm watching and I go, you know what, that guy's going to be wide open. And then everyone sees it and then they don't see it. And it's like, it can't just be too easy. And sometimes it's just too easy. Like, okay, dribble the ball up, go straight to the hoop. Somebody get in front of them, do something.
Yeah.
And that's what the Spurs were doing. Spurs, they had a couple of games, both against the Rockets, where they held them under, I think it was under 50. It was like somewhere in the 40s in points in the paint.
Yeah.
And then San Antonio came out with 66. And they look like prime Wilt Chamberlain out there getting buckets for them. And they couldn't do anything. And you say this all the time, Casey, that's less an interior defense and weakness on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't put Harrison everywhere. You can't put Harrison and Davion everywhere. Everybody got to do their part.
Speaking of Davion, we talked about him earlier, and I think we both kind of came to the conclusion he had a big offensive game on Sunday against the Spurs. And, I think he's capable of doing something like that a little bit more often, but it doesn't seem like it always happens. But it kind of feels like, like extra icing on the cake when he's able to score. And what I mean by that, Jay, is I feel like Davion is so important and so vital to the defensive end. He can have games where he has like 4 points, and I'm still like, cool, Davion did his job. He locked up. Do you feel the same way about watching him play, or do you think you want to see a little bit more from him on the offensive end?
I mean, the way they score, it's kind of hard for me to nitpick Davion for not scoring enough. I mean, it's always good, when your backup point guard can go out there and maybe get you double digits. But I think, like you said, so much of his energy is committed sometimes to disrupting another guy, and he's shown he can be an improved shooter. He's shown he can, he can do it. It's just also that he's in that spot where you're the backup point guard, so he's not going to get that same length in terms of minutes, and maybe on a given night he only gets up 4, 5, 6 shots. Whereas if he were playing more, he might get up 12, 13. So I don't really worry about him. The times I've talked to him, he's solid, and his track record is that he's going to do what it takes to win. He's shown that he will improve in every area he needs to improve. People forget before he was going to his last year of college, they were saying he was a guy who couldn't shoot from the perimeter at all. And he went out there and he showed that. He's shown that this year, and everyone from Baylor would always tell me when I talked to him about him, he's gonna make your culture better by the way he works. So I don't worry about him at all. I just figure, it'd be nice where he scores, nice that he doesn't. But even if he's not scoring, I don't worry about Davion being a guy saying, I missed 4 shots, and I'm not going to do anything else.
De'Aaron Fox has been just ridiculously explosive this year. I think he has more dunks this season than like the last 2 years combined. What do you attribute that to? Is that just like an evolution of his game? Because for us, we've speculated, especially he had like just a couple in a row, and they're like just explosive, just vicious dunks where it feels like, and he said this really, really early in the season, I can get any shot I want to. It feels like he's playing with an entirely different level of confidence, and that's allowing him to get to the rim in a way I don't think he ever has before.
He's just doing it. I mean, he's always had flashes of it. And I was back to that Twitter exchange with him and his dad when he said, I think it was back during Team USA days, where he said, I can dunk on anybody anytime I want. His dad said, well, why don't you do it? He always could do it. And that's always was kind of the kind of question with De'Aaron, not can you do it, but why don't you do it more often? And it just feels like this season, I think part of it is he's got better players around him, which is, of course, going to build your confidence. He's been pretty much healthy all year, and then when you're getting the reward of getting to the line more, I mean, there were times I would be like, I wouldn't go in there either and get knocked around, and so they can, get knocked to the ground for no reason. So I think it's probably a combination of things, but yeah, I think he catches the body every game. It just feels like every game someone's gonna get it. It's just nasty. These are, I mean, I know he doesn't get the John Morant ESPN highlights, but De'Aaron, he's got some top 10 plays this year.
Yeah.
And almost to the point where I'm like, maybe De'Aaron could have done the dunk contest. Because I mean, he gets up there and it's explosive. And I think maybe last year he was probably a little too heavy. He admit, came in too big. Maybe he didn't have the same type of explosiveness, but yeah, this year it's just been, it's a mindset, I think, really with De'Aaron. It's a mindset. And he's always been able to do it, but yeah, I think he's had the pedal, he's been more on than off way more this season than I've ever seen.
I think you said the perfect word. It is a mindset with him, because I remember, I don't want to quote him if he didn't actually say this, but I feel like a year or two ago, somebody asked him about dunking, and he was like, I mean, it's 2 points. It doesn't matter. Or he said something to the effect of like, I only have so many jumps. You know what I mean? I don't want to waste it on dunk. He was like real passive with the thought of dunking. And it was just all a mindset. And you see this year, he's had this explosive mindset. He's had this mindset to constantly attack, ruthless aggression, some might say. And and also a Malik Monk around. And like you say, getting a dunk every game, I feel like.
I mean, like I said, not just a dunk. It's like, somebody in the lane need to run.
Yeah. Watch your head.
How does Sabonis compare to DeMarcus in terms of how just really, really good these two players were for the franchise?
Both really damn good players. I would have loved.
Did you know Domas was this good?
I thought he was good. I remember when they made the trade, I was on the fence of I was on the side. Remember, I was on the side of this is a good trade for them.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, "Well, you're crazy." And I said he was going to be the best player that this is like the best big they've had since DeMarcus, and probably the most impactful trade since Weber. I like Sabonis. Did I think he was 2020, 2015 and 15? No. I didn't see all that coming, but I think the main difference is in terms of, I think they both have similar skill sets. I think obviously DeMarcus is a more physical player. I just wish I could have seen DeMarcus play on a team where they actually put shooters in space around him, actually put a team like this around him, where he didn't have to carry everything. I mean, I think I was talking about this the other day. The best point guard that DeMarcus played with was he had Rondo for a year and Darren Collison. Then he had IT, but he never had IT became an all-star after Sacramento. He didn't have that level of guy with him. They never really got him that supreme all-star level talent to pair with him. Yeah. But I just think, I mean, you see the way that with their, the offense, the way they use Sabonis, DeMarcus could have done all that in Sacramento. They just, I mean, if the poor drafting was highlighted by anything, it's look at the guy they drafted around DeMarcus. You never got him the right, and a lot of it was just overthinking things, just completely overthinking things and thinking, well, if I take this guy, DeMarcus will get mad or just weird stuff. But I think overall,
Lord help me. Is that the tweet?
Oh, Lord, it was give me strength. Lord, give me strength.
That's what it was.
and DeMarcus told me that because he was doing hot yoga that day. It had nothing to do with the draft.
Hell of a timing for that hot yoga class to wrap up.
Yeah, so I mean, they definitely have similar skill. I think DeMarcus is more physical. DeMarcus had that aggression. In a sense that he's going to dunk on somebody when he gets a chance. But in a lot of ways, I mean, when I watch Sabonis, I could see DeMarcus doing all the same things. I mean,
I was just going to say, I think DeMarcus is a little more skilled offensively.
Yeah.
With what he has in his bag. I think as good as a passer as Cousins is, I should say. I think DeMontis is a better passer, natural passer.
Well, that's DNA. That's DNA too,
Right.
Arvidas had a few tricks in his sleeve, back in the day.
Exactly. Hey, Jason, before you go, you care to guess? Like we just having fun with it. I said 33. You care to guess when DeMontis double streak will end? I said 33 games.
Oh man. Where's it at now? 20?
20.
No rhyme or reason for me saying 33.
I don't have a rhyme or reason either. I'll just say 27. No reason at all. Just throw a random number out.
He's going Roman Reigns style with this thing.
260.
What's the record? I mean,
it gets a little choppy.
Wilt Chamberlain has like 250 something in a row. Then he has another record of like 110 in a row. Then he has another record of like 101 in a row.
We don't count Wilt.
So we traced it back. It's Kevin Love. Kevin Love has 53. I think it was.
I was like, yeah, Wilt's kind of an unfair.
Yeah. So Kevin Love has 53. I think Dwight is 33.
Yeah.
I mean, given the fact, I'm gonna change that and say, given the fact that he doesn't really have a backup they trust like that, he'll get to 40. Because he's gonna get the minutes. He's gonna get the minutes. I mean, he's getting double doubles by halftime.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could easily see him getting to 40. With the minutes he plays. I think if it ends because they're in a blowout. Either they're winning or they're, it's a big game and he just sits with like 17 and 8 and Mike Brown has enough class to throw him in the game late to get 2 rebounds.
That's what happened the last time he didn't get a double-double. It was the Clippers game. They were just beating the mess out of him. And
26 minutes,
five rebounds.
Yeah. So to me, that's how it ends. It just ends because the game is so lopsided. You don't throw him back out there. But yeah, I mean, he gets these things just like in his sleep. It's easy.
7 first half double-doubles, according to Will Z.
Wow.
7 first half double-doubles. I'm going Roman. This thing's going for the season.
Oh,
he's
my.
breaking the record.
Oh my,
Or
let's
he's
go.
breaking the Kevin Love.
Acknowledge him.
God mode.
God mode, indeed.
He'll be in God mode. Okay. We'll see.
If that happens, will you ask Domas if he was in God mode?
I will go specifically to the game to ask him, was he in God mode?
Because we'd ask James to do it. James would never do it. Like
James would be like, "Why are we bringing God into this?"
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm like, what's it feel like to be in God mode? I'll wear the God mode shirt. He'll get it.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get it. He'll be like, oh, okay.
Hey, Jason, let's go Niners, brother. You know what it is, baby. Let's go. We got this, right? We got this. Come on, brother.
It pains me to say this, but them boys or something.
We them boys.
Ain't that how it goes? I don't know. I am not saying go. I'm not saying that.
That's okay.
Fellow Niner brother.
You're
going too far. You're going too far. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't put that evil on me.
We appreciate you, Jason. Thanks as always.
Catch y'all next week.